Is
Kevin Keane.
always come over as the businessman, always involved in going into places and trying to sort out their finances. Is that a fair representation
Well, I
of
think
you?
that's how I'm regarded, but
Right.
I'm an islander and I care about the island. So
Because there's quite a lot, obviously they're selling a good story, good news story about farming today, because obviously they want government backing, they want government finance to prolong the existence of farming. And of course they're struggling, some of them are struggling. We heard about the number of herds of cows has gone down just to 13 herds. I mean it's very touch and go. Now, as a business case, what do you make of it, as the whole farming thing?
Well, I think farming is really important to Jersey.
Right.
I think we have to look a bit longer term than we have done in the past and recognise that food security in the island is a thing. You've only got to go into a supermarket and see an empty shelf to realise that we have to. It's not just the business of feeding our islanders. It's a pretty important business as far as I'm concerned.
But there is still a lot of food washing around the world that is available to buy. I mean, I know there's a transport problem. That might be the biggest hurdle, getting it to the island. But there's no problem with getting the food.
Yeah, I think it's about sustainability and some resilience. We're on an island, and clearly from time to time we're cut off. And I think if we want to feed our island, I think we should make a bit more of an effort not to import everything. So I've been involved with the dairy, as some people will know. But I really do believe that we need to make more effort, and I think we need to make more effort to diversify our economy, to be completely honest.
Right. Well, obviously it's centred on one activity, which makes an incredible amount of income, money, wealth. Using tiny bits of land, you can make billions out of a little 3-bedroom house if you were so minded, if you were geared up to do it. But you can't do that with farming. There's no.
Of course not. But I still think there's a. I am pro financial services for the many benefits it brings to the island, but I'm also pro diversity of the economy and opportunities for our young people, and to do something really valuable. And that's not me being soft about these things. I really believe it.
Do you think the discussion? I mean, look here. We're up at the Veneridge, the Lamar. The countryside is inevitably very attractive, isn't it? And I understand people want it to stay looking pretty. But why should people like me have to compensate or subsidise farmers in order to keep that? Why?
Well, I think this thing about keeping the island looking pretty is, to be respectfully, is a patronising comment, and I don't agree with it in any way. I think that is probably why we've got to where we've got to.
Insofar as
we've let farming go,
right?
Because we sort of a bit money obsessed, frankly, and a bit short term in our nature, and so I can't think there's many more important things than producing food for people to.
But that isn't necessarily the same thing as keeping the island looking pretty, is it?
Well, but that's how it's been regarded, Mike, hasn't it? That's how it's been regarded. Is that we give these farmers a bit of money because they like doing the hedges. I really dislike that.
But that is what happens.
Well, it shouldn't. That shouldn't be the public good.
Right.
That the taxpayer is supporting.
Because I'm a vegetarian or a non-meat eater, so the pictures of the cow is very interesting. But they could put any animal up there, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have a love affair with the cow. But there is a very fondness for the Jersey cow amongst Jersey people. And that seems to dominate the discussion, doesn't it?
Do you think? Certainly the cow's a sort of Jersey icon, isn't it? And lots of people like looking at them. I'd see it broader than that. I'd see it about more local food production. I mean, I think if you look at the Hydrio's farm up at St Wands, some local vegetables being grown. They are fresh, they're available, and there are people working to make them. So I think it goes beyond that. And also we see the egg producers as well.
I'm regularly having potatoes off the wall from St Juan's. I mean, yes, it's delightful to go down, and the whole atmosphere of going down, you think you're getting something really unique, don't you? It's so rural, isn't it? There you are.
Yeah.
But it's very small scale.
It is, yeah, it is, you know, but I think it's still valuable, isn't it? You know, when we were young, you and I, my mum used to go to the greengrocer, and then she used to go to the butcher.
Exactly.
And it was pre-supermarkets, and you went round and you searched for your food. And the supermarkets made it much more efficient for people to just go to one place. But as they sort of chased the price of everything down, they sort of drove a lot of good businesses out. And now you look around at all these former farmhouses that are just for people to...
That's right, and of course they got a big voice because they're important, they're rich people generally, and they object to anything being built anywhere near them in the countryside.
Completely agree with that, and you know, well, I think also isn't that another factor of an aging island, where the people that tend to vote are the older people, and they tend to have a horizon that is perhaps not as the same as the younger people. So,
I've been going around this conference trying to find, is there a farm worker here? Is there a genuine farm worker? I haven't found any yet. But why aren't they here? Why aren't they encouraged to come to this conference? And I mean, they're coming from Philippines now, they're coming from all over the world. They go anywhere to get people to do the work. Why, instead of subsidising the farmers, why don't they put £1,000 and say everybody who comes here to work on the farm, we'll give you £1,000 bonus?
well, I think
Public money.
the first thing I'd say to you is that all the farmers are workers. Not many people own farms and don't have to work in them.
No, I understand that.
So that's the first thing. There are lots of farm workers here. As to whether there are people that have come from outside the island to work in farms more recently and why they aren't here, I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that it's not possible now in this really competitive world for people to work to not treat your people properly, because they just won't come. And I think
But that's part of the formula to me. Give them an extra bonus to come, and don't charge them income tax if they're here for 6 months. Say we're not going to charge you any income
I
tax.
think we are going to come to those kind of things, aren't we? We are going to have to recognise that instead of saying we don't want anybody to come here, we need some people to come here.
Right. This is socialism, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, thoughtful capitalism, maybe, Mike. Yeah.